let me introduce the first keynote speaker of today, Promod Bhasin. He is a man of many successful pursuits, and it was very difficult for me to put them in 1 minute. A CA by profession, worked with GE for 25 years across the US, Europe, and Asia, founded Genpact, considered the pioneer of the BPM industry in India, chairman of Clicks Capital, an NBFC that provides digital platforms and financial services to consumers. He's also the co-founder of Asha Impact, a virtual fund that is focused on social impact investments and advocacy. He's the co-founder of the Skills Academy, which provides vocational skills to youth across villages of India. He was the chairman of NASSCOM, strategic advisor to Kedara, a leading PE firm, on many, many prestigious boards, and an active investor in several companies. He has recently become a part of the Living My Promise group, and I'm hoping he'll share some of that with us today. And last of all, in COVID times, he has been engaged in many projects for support, reconnecting with photography, throwing out unnecessary stuff, and rearranging furniture, which drives his family crazy. So over to you, Pramod.
Thank you very much, Alka. Really appreciate those commentary. I didn't, when I was trying to wonder what article you would pick up on. And so that's the one you picked up on. And I think it's extremely accurate in these COVID times. It's an honor and a privilege to be here. Thank you very much for having me. Ganesh, to you, of course. Thank you for your warmth and friendship and for the invitation to be here. It's an astonishing privilege because I know how much you've done at Social Venture Partners, how much you have achieved, how you've built the network and the impact it's having on the ground. So again, I'm truly humbled and honored to be here. I just thought, when you asked me to speak, I thought, what should my message be? What could it be? And what is the message that I hope we can spread starting from here? And the central theme that to me has become very dear and near nowadays, which is why I signed Living My Promise, which is a pledge to give away 50% of my wealth, either during my lifetime or in my will, and I really hope it's during my lifetime that this will happen. And the central theme to me was, one, COVID times have held a mirror to all of us. The plight of millions of people in our country is desperate. When we see them walking home for days and miles, it shows you how fragile their lives is, that they are ready to pick that kind of course of action, even despite assurances from cities and others and employers that they may be looked after. It shows you the nature of our labor organizations, the nature of employment, many other things. And I think it shines a mirror up to our face. In the US, despite all the issues that country has, of course, philanthropy starts at a very early age. I can tell you when I was part of GE in the early days, you would get a United Way funding campaign coming through every year. And you were all encouraged very vociferously to give to United Way through payroll funding, payroll deductions. So you started learning the meaning of giving away money for philanthropic causes at a very early age in your working life, at a time when you thought you didn't have money, at a time when you thought you need savings, you need to pay for a mortgage, you need to pay for a loan. You were encouraged to give away a small amount, 5%, 2%, whatever you could afford, $300, it didn't matter. When I came to India, I was, of course, very lucky. I was the founder of Genpact. That created wealth because we went public in the New York Stock Exchange. The large group of people working at Genpact all have become like a family. We all work together, we go on holidays together, we meet each other even now. And it is remarkable how they have clubbed together. And the reason they have clubbed together is because we had this sense of purpose and the fact that we wanted to feel that we were close and warm as a family to each other. It wasn't money. Money helped. And then as we went public, I was asked a very simple question by a reporter. I remember this very clearly at the New York Stock Exchange when we rang the bell. And he said, "Mr. Bhasin, you have now done so well. You've made yourself a lot of money. What are you going to do with it?" And I had no answer. None at all. And the best I could come up with is I said, well, I might buy myself a new music system. I couldn't begin to think of what else. And since then, I have struggled with this notion. I love the act of wealth creation. It is critical for our economies. It is critical for the world. But I struggle, and I've always struggled, and I ask you to think profoundly about the meaning of wealth. What does wealth mean sitting in a bank? Why does wealth help anyone if it just sits there and you do nothing with it? As we all know, we can't take it with us. And so the reason I signed up for Living My Promise was for threefold. One, I wanted to work on causes which I was committed to, and there are two which I would love to work. I want to work on. One is healthcare delivery across India. Two is legal reforms and legal support for the underprivileged and people who are languishing as under trials in the jails, and for legal reforms across the board. And three, that's the first one. Second one was almost to demonstrate that wealth on its own is meaningless. It has no meaning other than if we choose to use it to do a lot more with it. Having it sit in a bank, giving it away to your children, of course, is important. But beyond that, it has to have a larger purpose. I'm blessed that both my daughter and my partner have said to me that they're very happy for me to go down the step of giving away 50% of my wealth. And so I would encourage as many of you as possible to think about this. Ganesh has led this, again, amazingly and wonderfully well. And I always tip my hat to him for being a pioneer in these areas, along with people like Amit Chandra. But these are profound moves that I hope really make a difference, and I hope many other people will join us. We've also started something called Asha Impact. Vikram Gandhi and I were partners. We were very close friends. And we started Asha Impact, which is an impact investment fund, where we have other people who also invest with us on deals that they like. There's no compulsion. It's not a regular fund. But we tend to invest in those organizations that have deep social impact and perhaps would not attract the kind of risk capital that they need from normal, regular sources of venture capital. So what sort of stuff do we do? We do investments in cheap schools, in lending money to the people from a different credit norm, in looking at areas of waste and pollution and agriculture, in looking at areas of financing used commercial vehicles, etc. Many things like that, and we will continue. So why do we do that? Because again, we're saying we are okay to lock up our capital for some length of time. We want a decent return, not because we wish to spend the money, but because we need to fuel it back into the system and have it cycle up and go out again. And we want to do it because many times the social impact companies do not have the wherewithal or the funding or the expertise to deal with the issues they are dealing with and to expand and scale the way they should. Lastly, on these points, the focus around SVP has been fantastic. I don't want to say this now because in case I fail, but I spent a lot of time in Goa, so I hope we'll expand it in Goa and make it spread all across India. And I think that would be marvelous if we could all achieve that. Of course, if all of you show up in Goa, that'll be even better. We can shut some of the other chapters, as Govind said, and just make sure that Goa becomes doubly effective. And I think that would be marvelous because Goa needs it along with the rest of the country. More than that is my plea to all of you to spread the word. India desperately needs philanthropy. It needs philanthropic investments, contributions, CSR money. I welcome the CSR Act. I was one of the first opponents to it, and I met, I met the Sachin Pilot at that time, and I complained to him as to why he was imposing such a tax on us, on companies. But I will tell you now, I hope the rest of the world follows. It's a great idea. It has unleashed a lot more capital, but we need thousands more capital to come through. Companies still, in my view, and I'm a good capitalist at heart, companies pay lip service. They have 15% of the annual report devoted to it and about 0.015% of their money devoted to it. It doesn't make sense, folks. We live in a country which has desperate needs, and I assure you there's nothing better than being able to provide support for those who need it the most. We started the Skills Academy. The Skills Academy hasn't been successful, sadly, but we went through an enormous amount of money through that. But the aim was the same, to teach underprivileged people in villages. I will continue that focus as we go along. So last few points I would make as we talk about this. One, I hope we will all give freely and encourage everybody around us to give freely. It's a habit. Give 1,000 rupees a month. Give 10,000 rupees a month. Put it away for a purpose. Use it to really be able to go out and help people, particularly in these times, in all manner of forms, in areas that you have deep interests in. Two, with the expertise we have, and I've seen Ganesh do this a lot, help NGOs and others scale and create large impact. We have a massive number of NGOs, and yet very few of them truly scale. We have enormous management capability that will allow us to help these NGOs to scale and achieve far greater impact. So helping them think through how you build a model, how you take that model and templatize it, how do you templatize it and then implement it in other places. I'm trying to do this right now in telehealth. It's working very successfully in some parts. I really hope it can become a bit of a model for many states to adopt, particularly as you reach out to residents and citizens of India who are in very remote and small villages. But if we can use our talent to really help expand and scale and better focus and better direct the resources that we have, that would be so powerful and would exponentially change what we achieve. And the last one I would ask you is, what I have loved is to do things with people you enjoy. So Ganesh, Vikram Gandhi, who is a dear friend, Pia Singh, with whom I built the Skills Academy, who's wonderful, Latika Tukral in Gurgaon, who's fantastic at what she does. Picking a whole host of people that we work with. Amit Chandra, who encouraged me to get into Living My Promise. The people setting up Ashoka University, Ashish Dhawan, the people setting up Plaksha University, who are doing such wonderful work. The list is endless. I don't need to sit here and tell you what all could be, what are the areas that would interest you. Sadly, in a country like ours, almost any area deserves great attention. I really hope you can do something that you believe in passionately. It could range from anything, as we said, but most of all, I hope we can all go out like SVP has done across the country to encourage others to give back, to encourage others to spend the money they have, and to tell them, you can't take it with you. And having it sit in a bank is a completely purposeless point. There has to be a purpose behind wealth, beyond its accumulation. I really ask many of the business homes that I'm in touch with in India, why do you just keep accelerating that wealth and putting it away? What is that eventual purpose? What do you want to do with it? Thank you again for having me here. I'm honored. It's a real privilege. And I hope if I can influence even 5 people today to give more, I will be delighted. Thank you, Alka, and back to you.